Hello, 7th grade. This is your Unit 1 review. So the first page was the self-assessment that was supposed to be basically a reflection of how you feel that you're doing, how well you understand the concepts, and so forth. The next page then is this vocabulary review. So this top box has math vocabulary and academic vocabulary. So what I've done is I went through and I wrote down all of the definitions for each of those terms. So center of a circle is the fixed point inside the circle that is equidistant. So it means there's equal distance from the point, from every point on the circle's circumference. Circumference then is the distance around the body of the circle. So it's essentially just that outer circle that we are talking about, the circle shape that you're used to. Complex fraction is a fraction that contains another fraction in its either numerator, its denominator, or both. So you don't just have a regular fraction. So you would have something like 3/4 over 2/3. That would be an example. Diameter is a straight line passing from side to side through the center of a circle. And remember, the most important part is that it has to go through that center. Otherwise, if it goes through somewhere else, like, a little bit on top, then it's a chord. So we don't want that. We want it to go directly through the center. Pi is a mathematical constant that represents the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, and it's approximately equal to 3.14159, or a lot of people just truncate that to 3.14. Proportional relationship is a connection between two quantities where their ratio remains constant. Radius then is the distance from the center of the circle to any point on its circumference. So that one, you have the center, and then it just rays out from that center to the edge of the circle. The last three, approximate, to find a value that's close to the exact value but not necessarily identical. So an approximate value would be then when you're using pi as 3.14 to find either the circumference or the area instead of that actual pi button. And when you're using pi, you're actually never going to find an exact value. However, if you remember, so we could have their circumference equals pi times diameter. Whatever that diameter is, you could write the diameter times and just write the number with the pi symbol. We can do diameter times 3.14. Or you can do diameter times the pi button on your calculator. These are the three different ways that you can get that answer. And all of them, except for this one, would be an approximation. Because this one, even though you're not writing out that full value, it is still the most correct answer. Okay. Certain then is a specific or fixed value related to the value of pi. So if we go back and look at pi, a mathematical constant that represents the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Okay, so it's just that certain point. Justify then, to provide logical reasoning, evidence, or proof to show why a statement, method, or solution is correct or valid. So now that we have all of these definitions, we can go through and we can look at these questions. So question number 1 on the vocabulary review says, make a labeled diagram that includes at least 4 math or academic vocabulary terms that relate to circles. So the ones that relate to circles are the center of a circle, circumference, diameter, pi, and radius. So however you would like to do that, you need to include at least 4. So an example would be similar to the book. So I have circle. And then I'm just going to circle that. And then from there, I'm going to write center, circumference. I should write these first. Diameter, pi, I'm just going to use the symbol, and radius. Okay, so that's one way that you could do that. Another way that you can do it is to actually draw everything. So here's my circle. So here's, and I'm going to label these with numbers. So 1 is the center. 2 is my circumference. 3 is the diameter. 4 is my radius. And then I'm not including pi, but that's one way that you could do it as well. All right, so use at least 2 math or academic vocabulary terms to explain what 3.14 and 22/7 represent. Underline each term that you use. So again, we're going to come up to this box up here that we've already defined. So we can say 3.14 and 22/7 are approximate spelling it wrong. Values of pi, and I'm using approximate and pi. You could say something like 3.14 is pi, and or is a shortened version of pi, and 22/7 is the relationship of the circumference divided by the diameter. Okay, you could also write something like that. Number 3 then, write an expression that gives the exact value of the area of a circle with radius 4 centimeters. Okay, so we need a radius of 4 centimeters. We're doing some sort of expression. Then write the expression that gives an approximate value of the area. So we have radius. We need to find the area. So if you remember, the area of a circle is pi r squared, and then we just have to include that information. So my radius, which they've told us, is 4 centimeters, and I'm just going to replace that into my equation. So I have area equals to 4 squared times pi. This 4 squared is 16, so I have 16 pi. And if I calculate that out, I have 50.24 approximately. Okay, so this answer and this answer are perfectly fine. All right, number 4. Give an example of a proportional relationship and identify the constant of proportionality. So basically you can do anything here that has some sort of constant. So your story could include miles per hour. Oops. You could have how much money someone makes per hour. Meters per second. Price per pound. Okay, anything that has this per in it, that's basically telling you that there's some sort of proportional relationship, and then there's some sort of constant. So whatever you have, maybe an employee earns $10 an hour. So for every hour they're working, they get $10, and that constant proportionality would be 10. All right, let's move on. All right, unit review. Anna is on a road trip. She uses 3/4 of a tank of gas every 9.5 hours. How many tanks of gas will Anna use after 12 hours? Okay, so we need to figure out either how long it takes her to use the complete tank of gas, or figure out how long it takes per hour. So one of the easiest ways to do this, and maybe not easy, is I'm going to divide each of these. So I'm going to do 3/4 divided by 9/2. So 3/4 divided by 9/2. That's basically going to give me that unit rate. I can't divide fractions, so what I need to do is I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So I have 3/4 times 2/9, and then I'm just going to multiply that across. So 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 9 is 36. I can divide both of those by 6, and what I'm left with is 1/6. So she's using 1/6 tank of gas per hour. So then in order to figure out how much gas she's using for 12 hours, we would then multiply those together. So I have 1/6 times 12. That gives me 12/6, because I'm just going to put that over 1. And this simplifies to 2. So she's going to use 2 tanks of gas for a 12-hour trip. Okay. Number 2. Water leaks through a roof and collects in a bucket. The table shows how many cups of water collect in the bucket for a different number of hours. What is the constant proportionality for the hours to the cups of water? Okay, so one thing that we need to focus on is we have hours to cups. So we're always going to divide this right here. And the answer key has a typo. Okay, so if I simplify 2/6, because I have my hours first and my cups second, this is going to simplify to 1/3. The answer key is telling me that it should be 3, but the way they have that written, that's wrong. Here again, I'm going to do the same thing. I have my hours over my cups of water. This is going to simplify again to 1/3, because I'm going to divide both of those by 4. Here I'll do the same thing, 6/18. If I divide both of those by 6, I get 1/3. Here I have 8/24. If I divide both of those by 8, I'm going to end up with 1/3. I'm going to do the same thing here, 10/30. That simplifies to 1/3. And then 12/36 simplifies again to 1/3. So all of these have a constant proportionality of 1/3. All right, the graph models the proportional relationship between the amount of money Tessa earns and the hours she works. Decide if each statement is true or false. So here's the information that we need. So it looks like for a half an hour, she's making a little bit more than 5. If I find 1, maybe $12.50. 2, Sorry, these lines are hard to see. About 25, and then we don't see 3. Okay, so let's work through each of these. The point 1, comma 1250 means Tessa makes $1 in 12.5 hours. So if we're looking, X is always first, Y is always second. So right here, this 1 right here, my X, refers to hours. So that's not correct. So I'm going to bubble that in. B then, the point 1, comma 1250 identifies the constant proportionality. Well, that's true because we're looking at that unit rate, and that's going to tell us what our constant is. The 0.00 means the constant of proportionality. Well, no, we already said that 1250 is, so that's not true. And then D, the point 0.5, comma 6.25 means that Tessa earns $6.25 every half hour. Well, that's true because this again is our hours, that's our money. So for half an hour, 0.5 of an hour, she's earning $6.25. All right, number 4. Companies A and B produce phone chargers. Company A makes 15 phone chargers in the amount of time Company B makes 20 phone chargers. When Company A makes 30 phone chargers, Company B makes X phone chargers. Write your answers in the blanks to find X. So, this is an example where we could do the butterfly method to show how that works. So I'm going to do 15 times X is equals to 30 times 20. So 15X is equal to 600. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 15. So 600, 15, that's 4. 40. Okay, so my X is equal to 40. And then this basically did that same thing. So since 30 is equal to 15 times 2, then X is equal to 20 times 2, just a little bit of a different way to do it. All right, a circular rug has a diameter of 18 feet. What is the area of the rug in square feet? Use 3.14 for pi, record your answer on the grid, then fill in the bubbles. So what I'm doing, okay, so it says it has a diameter of 18 feet, and it wants to know the area. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. Right now we have diameter, which is 18. We need the radius. So we need diameter divided by 2, which is 18 divided by 2, which is 9. So my area is going to be equal to 9 squared times pi. This then is equal to 81 times pi, and they want us to do it in the terms of 3.14. So I'm going to do 81 times 3.14, and I'm just going to throw that in the calculator quick to save time. Which gives me 254.34. So then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So 254.34, and then we're just going to fill in the bubbles. So that's a 4, that's a 3, that's a point, 4, 5, 2. Okay, so the values up here should match the bubbles down here. Okay, number 6. Emerson pays $227.25 for 3 new windows. Write an equation that represents the cost C for W windows. Show your work. Okay, so we have a total here and 3 new windows. So basically, we're doing 3W is equal to $227.25. We can solve that and see how much each window costs. So if I divide both of these by 3, I get W is equal to, and I'm just going to grab the calculator again, 227.25 divided by 3 is 75.75. So if we're trying to figure out how much it would cost for any number of windows, we would have our total cost is equal to our price per window, which is $75.75 times the window. So no matter how many windows I'm purchasing, I can multiply that times the cost per window, and that'll get me my total cost. All right, number 7. The scale from a square tabletop to a drawing of a tabletop is 6:1. Okay, so I have 6 inches to 1 centimeter. The actual tabletop has an area of 1,296 inches squared. What is the area of the drawing of the tabletop? Show your work. Okay, so one thing we need to notice is that it says it's a square tabletop. So our table is square. That's not very square. But this side and this side are going to be the same. So what you can do is we can take the square root of this 1296. 1296 is 36. So the square root of 1296 is equal to 36. I'm just going to verify that. There we go. Okay. So that means that for the regular tabletop, each of these sides is 36 inches. So to find out how big the drawing is, I need to divide both of these by 6. Because for every 6 inches here, I have 1 centimeter here. So I'm going to do 36 divided by 6, which is equal to 6. So now my new one is 6 by 6. This is my drawing. This is my actual. This is my drawing. So now I can find the total area for my drawing. So 6 times 6 is equal to 36. So I have 36 centimeters squared. All right. That is your review. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm happy to answer them. And good luck on your test tomorrow.